Hey Nathan,
Yeah.
do you think it might have been a good idea if we watched the Royal Rumble or not?
Yes, it probably would have been a better idea if we had watched it. Think back.
Intro. Okay, so this week's episode of Raw is the day after the Royal Rumble.
Yes, the very next day, and you can tell it because they've got no talent in this episode.
Hey!
I'll spoil that.
Shut up! It's from January 25th, 1993, so we're getting close to my birthday when I was actually born.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it comes from the Grand Ballroom in Manhattan, not Manchester, as I incorrectly said last week.
So it's the same place the last two have been.
Yes, exactly, yes. Our commentary team this week is McMahon, Bartlett, and Heenan.
Yeah, they're refreshing the commentary team this week because Macho Man's a little bit busy.
What disguise do you think Heenan had to use to get into the building?
Well, it's not a very good one because his jacket has his name on it with shiny letters.
I like to think he came in like a druid robe, and then he just took it off and it was like, it's me, Bobby Heenan. So yeah, they get a quick intro, and we get a slow open on our main man, Shane Mooney, the Moonster.
We start with Mooney out by the New York streets, and he almost gets absolutely destroyed by Repo Man's car.
Now, I like to think he's been left here week to week.
What, Sean Mooney?
Yeah,
he's just been standing outside. I was like, when they're coming back?
Yeah, when do I go back in? And they're like, just keep vamping, keep talking. So yeah, Repo Man arrives with a dangerous amount of speed. And he basically looks the same as he looked last week. He arrives in Macho Man's hat. He's wearing clothes, but he's got
Again,
the hat
he hasn't actually gone home. He's just been driving around the block for weeks.
And I didn't notice this, because you get a nice long look at like him face on, he's got mismatched eye holes in his costume.
Oh yeah, no, his mask is terrible.
I mean, I don't understand, because later on they talk about who do you think the Repo Man is, and I'm like, just look at him.
He's not exactly hiding much, is he?
I tell you, wearing sunglasses obscures more of your face than his, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, because all we can tell about him, like sans mask, is that he's a middle-aged, portly fellow who's balding and got a mustache.
It looks painful in his ears as well. It looks like
it's really not comfortably put on him.
So he does a quick promo because he's fighting Macho Man Randy Savage this evening.
Yeah.
So we get the opening of Raw as normal, the whatever it is, and then we start straight away. No pissing about this week, Nathan.
No. I mean, we get the little, we get the introduction of the commentary team and McMahon going, "Here tonight on Monday Night Raw."
I see. Look, I was feeling quite tired today. I got not a lot of sleep last night, so I was thinking, this recording's not going to be very good. Like, I'm not really feeling it. And then as soon as you get that welcome, I'm like, no, I'm in it, dude.
To hell.
I think what I'm going to do is like set my alarm clock to make that noise. So we're down to sort of spring out of bed, and I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. Like those guys in the caffeine-free Zap ad that comes up, for Mania. That comes up at the end.
Big Boss going, wake up!
That would work, yeah. I mean, I have to change my bed sheets every day because of all the piss. But I mean, other than that, I think it'll be all right. So yeah, we just start. Repo Man.
Repo Man like runs into the ring like from the outside. He looks tired already, bless him.
He's put a run in.
Yeah.
Usain bolted it. And then before even the bell can ring,
before Macho Man can even be introduced,
he's there.
He's there and coked out of his mind.
I wrote down here, Repo Man does do a little goblin run towards...
Yes, he does, doesn't he?
Towards El Hebner. So that was good. Oh, and he hangs his hook and his rope on the ring post.
Yeah.
And Macho Man's hat on the top of it as well.
Yeah.
That's in. I think he's in a neutral corner because I believe he's in the top left and Macho Man's in the bottom right.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a neutral corner. So they're fighting over the hook and the hat.
Okay.
It's a really hot start, actually. Like a repeat of last week, Macho Man, but the roles are reversed. Macho Man comes in and just takes him from behind.
Murders him for like 3 minutes.
He just beats the shit out of him. He rolls him out. Macho Man leaps the top rope, like literally grabs the top rope and kind of catapults himself over the top. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he put a lot into this match for what is essentially kind of a joke bit.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's kind of him getting his heat back, though. Like, he's kind of like, oh, okay, I am the man, the Macho Man.
I mean, if that was the case, though, you'd imagine this would be a squash of some sorts, which I thought it was going to be.
Oh, we got one of those later, though. Squash match.
Yeah, I suppose so. We do get one of those. But no, I just like the way it started. Obviously, okay, Reaper Man's dead within like 2 minutes, and we're going to get the rest of the matches later on. No, Reaper Man does fight back, but I mean, I'll let you continue. Eventually. Yeah.
So, he comes over the top rope, he drops the knee on Macho Man, he smushes his face, he rolls him back in, he's like a big jump. Macho Man gets rolled out. There's a bit of a reversey. Macho Man kicks Repo Man in the butt.
Yes, gets him right in his little bottom.
And then he climbs back in the ring and taunts on the top rope. He's all going like, yeah, I'm the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then they have a bit of a chase at the aisle. They headlock. Macho Man headlocks Repo Man, takes him back to the apron, gets him back in the ring. Repo Man's begging off. He's all going like, no, I just wanted to repossess your career.
Yeah.
Just let me.
Which suggests that Macho Man is still paying off the debt of his career.
His hat, his career. Does he not own anything?
He's back with money as Macho Man. That's why he's having to do them Slim Jim commercials.
You're getting another of them later. I love them. So yeah, there's a bit of a corner choke. Macho Man's basically in this match telling the story that he's so mad that everyone's had to see his wispy doll hair last week.
And his little bald spot, yeah.
Which Bartlett makes fun of. And then I stopped making fun of it then, because I'm like, okay, now it's not cool anymore.
And that's the thing, like, during this match as well, Heenan and McMahon, like, start talking shit about Bartlett in front of him.
Yeah.
He's just like, where the hell did you get this guy, man?
There's a weird sexy vibe on commentary tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a weird, like, angry sex kind of thing going on.
It's just the only kind of sex McMahon knows. God damn. Yeah, they start talking about how they found Bartlett in a sewer.
I thought it was a Subway.
Subway, sorry, yeah. Like
they're talking about how, like, Bartlett would do tricks for, like, any amount of money, so...
He's out tricking. I thought it was sewer because I've written down they found him the same place they found Splinter in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But there's that joke out the window.
That doesn't make sense now. So there's a bit of a corner choke. So he's basically telling in this match that he is so mad that he doesn't mind getting disqualified. He just wants to beat Repo Man to pieces.
Yeah, and get his hat back.
Notes get a bit confusing here because I've written down man for both of them.
Man?
Yeah, because
Man and Man.
Repo Man. So I'm just going to have to kind of... So there's a dodgy reversal onto the steps at one point.
Yes, yeah, this is where like Repo Man kind of gets a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, so Repo Man starts his comeback. He slips under a punch from Macho Man. Macho Man goes to slam Repo Man's head on
The wooden steps. They look like painted wood.
Yeah, they
which
look a bit.
I'm just like I get like weird thoughts and feelings about what about like an eye splinter or something.
Well, that happened with Rob Van Dam once. Like his eyelid.
Oh no, I think you told me that, and I really don't want to have to think about that.
But Repo Man bounces Macho Man's head off the ring steps.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Hokey.
Yeah.
So Repo Man rolls back in, he breaks the count, throws Macho Man into the ring post, and then Repo Man starts his beatdown in the corner. Basically just throwing punches, kicks, whips him into the other corner, punches, kicks. They do put over on the commentary, they are both brawlers.
Yes.
Like they both just rely on punching, striking. The best damn technical striker in the WWE isn't The Undertaker, it turns out. It's Mr. Repo Man with his dodgy eye mask.
I mean, he starts off okay as a brawler. Like, it's not a particularly varied defence that he's going for, but he makes it look all right. But he gets, like, quite tired in the last few minutes of the match.
Yeah, and we're not even, like, halfway through the match, I don't think, to be honest. So it goes on about 10 minutes. Not the beatdown spot, God. Although there's a bit later that feels like it goes on 10 minutes. It's basically the same amount of moves.
Yeah.
There's, so he gets me, like, a reverse chin lock, which I thought was quite nice, on the ground. Repo Man does, and he puts him in like the leg scissors as well, so like he's proper trapped him down on the ground. That's when Heenan starts talking about the dodgy practices of his chiropractor. Did you catch this in the commentary?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
What?
After they start talking about how they found Rob Bartlett, the gutter snipe, in the subway, Heenan starts talking about how his chiropractor often performs the same manoeuvre that Repo Man's doing in the ring on him, and he pays $40 for the privilege.
Oh, okay. You see, I only heard that he pays a large amount of money for the same privilege. I thought he was just saying like he gets like prostitutes to strangle him.
I was going to say, I think he's got the words chiropractor and dominatrix mixed up. He does sound quite excited about the prospect, so yeah.
Oh, Heenan is like on the ball today. Like, I think he is just like Randy the entire time.
No, Randy's in the ring fighting.
Yeah. I realised that I set you up for that like after I'd said it. So
which is weird. I do feel he's a valuable addition to the commentary though. I like him more.
He is good. Yeah, definitely.
Like, I'd happily have him, Bartlett, and Savage. Oh, I didn't mention at the beginning of this. Someone does an excellent Macho Man Randy Savage impression.
I
can't tell
think
who
it's
it is.
Bartlett.
Oh,
which is a shame, but.
Oh. So his Macho Man's better than his Mike Tyson.
But I'm gonna say this now. Bartlett is actually okay in this episode. He reins himself in.
Barely speaks.
He reins himself in, and when he does talk, it's leading off of someone else's joke rather than starting his own.
Yeah, he hasn't got the whole "I've got one joke and it's my car."
Yeah, no, they're not even allowed in that one joke anymore.
Yeah, they're like, shut up. So there's a bit of a Macho Man comeback. It goes to an ad. It's a bit jarring when it comes. We agreed we weren't really going to mention them as much unless it kind of impacts on the match.
But this episode, it's particularly impactful.
So the ad starts with Macho Man starting his comeback sequence, like just dropping Repo Man. It comes back.
Well, yeah, because before you carry on, the ad break starts when Macho Man has hold of Repo Man's leg. Like I don't know what that spot's called.
Oh, it's like where he basically caught the kick.
Yeah, he's caught the kick, and then just sort of doing the whole, "Oh, I'm gonna twist you, boy."
Yeah, so what you normally do, you've got 3 or 4 options there. You could drop the leg and do a clothesline, which I think because they're quite big men, they do. I can't imagine doing like an Xbox style jumping spin kick from that. But yeah, so I imagine that was what was going to happen. He drops it, clotheslines.
Yeah, but then they come back from the advert and they're just both on the floor. I said to Blake, I wouldn't be surprised if they cut back and they're just in different clothes for some reason.
I said they cut back as 2 different wrestlers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, by the way, that last match did this and that and the other, and then now we've got these guys. It's the Matador again.
Yeah.
I miss him.
So rest in peace.
He's still alive.
Is it? Okay, good.
I think.
I don't know.
I'll have to look later. That's going to be heartbreaking.
Just imagine the ad cutbacks. Okay, while you have the ad break, I'm afraid the Matador died, so it's this new match.
So there's a they're trading momentum, so they're fighting back and forth. There's a rope choke, so Reaper Man chokes Savage in the corner. There's a really shitty spine breaker, back breaker thing.
Yeah, I don't really know what to call that because like Reaper Man picks up Macho Man sort of horizontally, and like he just sort of like rests him against his knee and then lays him on the ground.
It's kind of the position where you would go for like a side-on backbreaker.
Yeah, that's it.
But you kind of need him angled up a little bit. It was kind of like his hip that landed on the knee and his bum.
Or he just didn't have the downward momentum to make it have any impact either.
It was very gentle. Very dainty. Oh, I don't want to break the ring.
I don't want to break Macho Man because he is actually upset with me about the hat.
He's actually a superstar, and I'm just a bloke in a rat catcher mask. Or you could take a fall-away slam for that position as well. That's the kind of position we're talking about. So he's got his arm hooked around his neck and then under one leg.
Yeah.
So that's a bit shitty. There's a scoop slam. So Macho Man gets straight back up, no sells the shitty spine buster thing.
Yeah, which is the right manoeuvre.
Right call.
Because if he did sell that, I'd have less respect for him.
He gets him with a scoop slam, and then here we see it in focus and everything. The first time Nathan's ever seen it, the Macho Man Randy Savage elbow from the top rope.
Yeah.
Thing of fucking beauty.
Looked good.
Just a quick side note, CM Punk did it for a little while as well.
Good for him.
Yeah, when he was sort of coming an up-and-comer, like a big thing. So yeah, the first time you've ever seen it, what do you think for his finishing move, Macho Man Randy Savage?
It was good.
It was impactful, doesn't it?
I don't know whether you didn't have it written down, but at one point Repo Man did this really shit leg drop.
Oh yes,
where he just sort of
I ragged on him for the spine breaker. I was going to skip over that.
No, it's worse than Hulk Hogan. Like he just sort of waddles up to him slowly, like half lifts his leg and just sits down.
Just puts the cheek of his arse on his head. Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't great, but But on a plus note, big
fucking elbow drop.
Macho Man wins.
As he should.
He can have his hat back now.
Which is a shame because the outfit he's got on today doesn't match the hat. So if anything, it's worse.
Didn't you expect Reaper Man to come running around the apron with a hat that matches that outfit?
Yes, a new hat.
And be like, ha! Now we have to feud again. We will say straight away, there's no segments tonight whatsoever.
No, there's nothing of genuine storyline importance. No. I guess maybe the Ric Flair thing that was brought up last week has a sliver of importance, and there's the next match, which I don't know where this story is going to go. I kind of hope it doesn't, but we'll get onto that when necessary.
There's no segments. It is all just match tonight. There's a brief interview sequence after our next match. Basically it is just all about the wrestling tonight. There's a really nice section after the end of the Macho Man match where Earl Hebner, the hero, he stops Macho Man, because we didn't want to see it, did we, Nathan? Him doing a flying Macho Man Randy Savage elbow from the top rope to the ringside. That would have been awful.
Oh, it would have been terrible to see that.
We would have hated seeing that.
Seeing the villains of the story getting his comeuppance. That would be terrible.
I'm really glad Earl Hebner stepped in, like the American hero he is, and stopped us seeing that.
But, by the end of this show, I had a lot of respect for Hebner.
Yeah, true. The only thing we get tonight is adverts. So we get a WrestleMania advert, which will be the first pay-per-view that we cover ongoing in Raw.
Yes.
That's on April 4.
April 4.
And it comes to us from Las Vegas. Apparently, it's the family-friendly entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas.
Family friendly, eh?
They've got Cirque du Soleil now. It's all right. Like, shut up. It's fine. There's not all strip shows and fucking Rodney Dangerfield stand-ups. It's fine out there now.
They don't get no respect, though.
They get no respect. It's not a lawless wasteland of sand and guns. It's fine. So we come back from that and
Okay, yeah, we're going to try and be gentle with this next match.
Okay, so our next match is a match between the Ugandan Giant, as they call him, Kamala, who we've spoken briefly about on the show beforehand.
Oh, hello there, future Nathan here. How you doing? How's the kids? Listen, I'm just interrupting at this point because in this next segment we're going to do a little bit of a in memoriam of the wrestler known as Kamala, real name James Harris. But listening back to the recording, I feel like we didn't do a great job of respecting him and his legacy. I mean, we forgot his name at one point, which isn't a great look, so I apologise for that. I think we mentioned it in the segment that's coming up, but the actor who played Kamala passed away literally 2 days, I think it was, after we recorded the very first episode of this series. So we didn't know a great deal about him or his character. I mean, there are obviously some issues that we do try and talk about, but I mean, generally from the research that I've done, it looks like James Harris quite enjoyed playing the character, and I think you can see that in the performances that we've seen so far, that he genuinely enjoyed his time in the ring. So yeah, all that's really left for me to say is I apologise if the next segment comes across as a little bit insensitive. We will try and do a lot better in the future. And yeah, James Harris, you were an incredible performer, and I think I speak for Blake as well when I say we are very much looking forward to seeing your future appearances in this show. Thank you for stopping with me. We'll get back to your regularly scheduled Oh, I messed it up. Quick, go back now.
Yeah, and he's fighting the Brooklyn Brawler, who I will just say has got a pinfall victory, clean one, over Triple H in the future from here.
Which is shocking.
So he's a big deal, Nathan. And he's fighting Kamala, who is accompanied to the ring by his manager, Reverend Slick.
Yeah, his current manager after he was taken away from, what was the guy's name?
handler Kim Chi, I believe.
Yeah, Kim Chi. I was going to say some other racist Chinese name, so thank you for stepping in there.
I'm glad you didn't,
yeah,
because we've talked about this. So yeah, Kamala, he comes to the ring. There's lots of belly slapping aplenty, I wrote down. And he seems happy.
Yeah,
cheery.
Because I don't know, I haven't actually gotten around to editing the first episode yet, so I don't know how I put it, but we recorded the first episode of this show before the guy who played Kamala Harris passed away, and we did a little bit of research after the fact and found that the guy actually really enjoyed the character, if only for the fact that he didn't actually have to talk, which was his own weakness. Okay. He just got to do a bunch of physical acting, and he loved it. So
his performance, it looks like when you can tell when people enjoy their work. And Kamala Harris is a man that strikes me that he enjoyed every second of his work.
Yeah, he's smiling, he looks happy. So we're gonna take the performance for what it is and try to not focus on, I guess the problematic aspects of it too much.
I said to you when we were watching, it's only a short match, so it's only going to be quite a brief conversation, but I think I said to you when we were watching it, what I'm going to try and attempt to do personally is take the character and the performer out of the stereotype he's portraying. So, obviously, because they keep referencing the fact he comes from Uganda.
Which he doesn't. The actor doesn't. But
they mention he wrestles barefoot. They mentioned that, he keeps doing this strange pin, which I believe is their kind of way of saying, oh, look at him, he doesn't know how to pin over here.
Yeah, that's how we do it in this country.
And Slick's saying, no, roll him over.
And there is also the whole thing of people are chanting, you are a man, rather than an animal, I suppose. Yeah. Which, sure.
It's worrying. So I think what I'm going to do is, so Kamala Harris, personally, as a person, enjoyed playing the Kamala character in 1993. So I'm not offended on behalf of Kamala Harris.
I will say, we're saying Kamala Harris purely because I said it and I've forgotten the guy's actual first name.
I think his first name's John,
John Harris?
I believe that might be his first name. But if I start saying John Harris and Kamala, I might get confused. But what I'm going to do is I still hold up my point that it is racially insensitive as an idea.
Yes.
Even though Mr. Harris had no problem playing that character himself.
And he had some form of input when creating the character, but at the same time it was Jerry Lawler, a white person that had a large hand in creating that character.
I think we're moving in the right direction if you stick with me, because now he's with
Okay.
Reverend Slick. Reverend
Yes,
Slick.
yeah.
That was the "You Are a Man" thing is the advice Reverend Slick gave to him to make him a good person, because he's a face. He's the face in this match.
Yes, yeah. Like
And
the
crowd-
audience loves it.
Yeah, they're all doing the belly slapping aplenty, and they're loving it. And you can tell that Mr. Harris is really enjoying being in the ring.
Yeah,
he's
like,
slapping
people
his
are
belly.
cheering for him. He's having a good time.
Like he does a super kick at one point, which was pretty mental.
Yeah.
He does a stink face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does like quite a he goes to pin Brooklyn Brawler at one point and just sort of falls over, but he makes it look okay.
I've not got there yet.
Sorry,
it's fine. I was going to talk briefly about he's got quite a good mobility.
He does, yeah.
and he can stay in character really well.
Yeah.
Like the way he kind of walks around the ring when he portrays the character of the Ugandan giant that he's supposed to be playing.
He is a very entertaining performer.
Yes, not the same thing can be said about Mr. Brooklyn Brawler.
No. Shall we get into the meat of the match?
Yes.
Or?
Okay, so I've not written down any moves. I think it's basically just a general squash match.
Yeah,
it's
pretty
3
much.
minutes and 32 seconds long. Brooklyn Brawler gets the crap beaten out of him, and the only way he stays in the match that long is because Kamala can't pin properly.
Yeah. And let us remind you, at one point in the future, the Brooklyn Brawler gets a clean pin on Triple H.
Maybe he was like, "Oh yeah, I learned this from Kamala." Like,
Does this mean that Kamala is better than Triple H?
I'd say so.
Okay, good.
I'd say so. There's a really good section, like you say, where he does a little run and tries to booty slam him in the corner.
Yeah.
And he falls straight on his fat fucking ass. It was brilliant. I laughed so hard. The only other laugh I got out of this match was when Kamala, I think he brain chopped
Yes,
Brawler,
he did
like
do
the
that.
great Carly, and the Brooklyn Brawler goes,
He goes,
yeah, like a retching noise. Horrible noises. He's quite a thick, like timberous gentleman.
Yeah.
Brooklyn Brawler, and he looks awful. I know that's his whole look. He's got like a ripped t-shirt. And
He
ripped
does look like
jeans.
they just like pulled someone from the subway like they did Rob Bartlett.
He's like, oh, I've got a buddy.
Yeah.
My father says, you've met my mad uncle and my mad auntie. Why don't you meet my mad friend, the Brooklyn Brawler? Reverend Slick talks Kamala into pinning the right way, like we do in America.
Yeah, like we do in the good old countries.
And he wins.
Yes.
And I'm
In
glad.
quite a wholesome, smiley
It was
match.
a very succinct and compelling victory for Kamala.
Yeah.
Kamala never looked like he was ever in any peril.
No.
The crowd were behind him, and that was the whole story of the match. Was like, oh, if he keeps kind of feeding off the crowd and becoming like a good person, then he's going to be a great wrestler in the WWF. now
Yeah,
WWE.
yeah. Like all issues with that subtext aside.
I'm glad we spent more time burying Brooklyn Brawler than we did talking about Kamala.
Yes.
So I'm happy with that. So after the match, we get a post-match interview by Vince McMahon.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pulling double duty, like he does every week. We haven't really talked about this, the fact that Vince McMahon, the owner of the company, is running the commentary desk and doing interviews.
He's pulling a lot of weight at this point, at least.
How do you kind of feel about that? Because I think the only thing you've seen of him was the mid-2000s where he is Mr. McDaddy, Mr. McMahon.
Yeah,
and
like-
now...
Yeah, that's the thing, because knowing Vince McMahon as he is now, I'd feel, if you told me that, Vince McMahon is on the camera a lot, I'd feel a little bit uncomfortable. But he does a good job of it. Like,
Yeah.
it's his company, and he knows how to run it at that point by evading taxes.
And also, he's got a really good... Because he is a face commentator.
Yes.
And I kind of find some of his commentary insipid and a bit tedious. It's like him just going, whoa!
Yeah.
And he leaves other people to call the moves. So obviously, when a couple of years down the line, when you've got actual colour and then play-by-play commentators, it works a lot better, the threesome.
I find that Vince McMahon on commentary does a lot of just repeating what the last person said.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the... I think because he's got so much going on in his head. Okay, I've got to go and do an interview here. I've got to make sure
Yeah.
everything's running properly. I've got this is the whole thing belongs to me. I've got to make sure nothing goes wrong. No one gets hurt. Everything's got to go without a hitch. He probably sometimes does struggle being... like improving his way
Perhaps, yeah.
the conversation further. I mean, there's another bit of sexy commentary before the end of the Kamala match where they're discussing, like kind of Bartlett and Bobby Heenan and,
Yeah, getting
and
together
Narcissus
and-
and all this kind of business. So yeah, I think Vince McMahon is obviously quite clearly uncomfortable with all that.
Yeah.
He just shuts it down immediately. No sexy talk. I'm rock hard. But yeah, so
It's coming! It's coming!
Oh yeah, when was that? Was that
I don't remember. All I remember is like him shouting that at one point.
What's that? That might have been the WrestleMania advert. It goes. Oh, that's it. Okay, so before the WrestleMania advert, it goes.
Oh,
into,
going back a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It goes into the WrestleMania advert off the back of Bartlett making a joke about getting a lady's phone number.
Oh
He was
yeah,
doing
it's sort of
the
asking her to come back to his room
Yes.
or something. That's my main problem with Bartlett in this one, is that he keeps trying to sexually assault all the ring ladies. But at the same time, Heenan's joining in, so he's just as culpable.
And McMahon's in the middle, just screaming, it's coming. So basically, just with a bit of context, what's happened here is it comes back on the WrestleMania ad, and Miss McMahon just starts going, because Bartlett's doing his joke about the woman in the ring, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then obviously they're hype at WrestleMania, so you get that really insensitive kind of misogynistic joke, and then McMahon is going, it's coming, and it just made me laugh. So he interviews Reverend Slick.
Yes,
moving
get back
swiftly
to
on.
it. Yeah.
And Reverend Slick basically just does a kind of bog standard promo, a face promo.
Talk about how good of a boy Kamala is.
Yeah, and I think it's a competent kind of. It's very, very quick, very, very short.
Yeah.
This whole segment with Kamala lasts probably about 5 minutes.
That's the thing, I think they're really trying to get over that this isn't important, but you like Kamala now, so just enjoy him.
And on a match with very little story or storyline starting, there's a lot of conclusions tonight. Macho Man's story is concluded.
Yeah.
Flair's story concludes later. It's nice to have a little bit of a character study in the middle.
Yeah, it's just like a little bit of a nice alleviation from everything.
Yeah, kind of like, okay, this is kind of fun, loving guy, kind of a fun character, like in between the two absolute blood feuds that we get. So that was quite nice. I quite enjoyed that. We kind of got out of that without really having to be really worried.
No, I think we did all right.
We get the same ads as last week.
Yeah, you got the Ico Pro, Slim Jim.
I'm getting sick of seeing these ads. I never thought I'd get sick of seeing Macho Man struggle with a bag of chips, which I saw this week, by the way, because I was paying
You were paying attention.
this time. I wasn't writing down about Ico Pro. So the same ads as last week, and then we go to the Royal Rumble report, the post report from the day previous. So what we're going to attempt to do is basically just play that segment here, so you get a recap, as we did, on what happens in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, we're playing the entire thing? I thought we just wanted like the introduction.
No, because I was thinking it's going to be quicker for us if we just play the entire segment.
I don't know if we can get away with that.
Oh, well, would you look who it is? It's your favourite again. It's me. It's Future Nathan. And yeah, no, there was absolutely no way we could get away with, like, actually just putting in the audio from the Royal Rumble report in here. Blake, you madman. What were you thinking? I mean, even if it wasn't just like a technological nightmare to try and figure out how to rip that audio from it, I can't even get hold of the VHS. I tried calling the number they provided, and it just apparently goes straight to Vince McMahon's home address, and he told me to do one. So there's that like story come to a close. So I'm just going to do the Royal Rumble report myself. I've got written down what good old Mean Gene Okerlund said, so I'm going to do my best. So yeah, Bret Hart defended his title pretty well by the sounds of it, because he's kept it. And also the winner of the Royal Rumble was Yokozuna, the big old sumo wrestler fella. So apparently the main event at the WrestleMania that's coming up in Las Vegas, we'll be doing that. Don't you lovely chaps at home worry about it. Will be between Yokozuna and Bret the Hitman Hart, if Bret can keep the title. Other than that, Bobby Heenan unveiled Narcissus, who is Lex Luger, a big, beautiful bronze Adonis of a man. Other than that, the only thing that Okerlund says is that Giant Gonzalez jumps into the Royal Rumble and manhandles The Undertaker. He's not specific with what manhandling means, just that he says that he's never seen anyone do to The Undertaker what Giant Gonzalez did, so I can just imagine that he got in there and fingered him for a bit. So yeah, that's the end of the Royal Rumble report. There is some more information about the Royal Rumble that Blake gets into that apparently just isn't good enough for Gene. So yeah, back to you, past Nathan and Blake.
The only things I want to add to the Royal Rumble is the Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty feud was concluded at Royal Rumble. Doesn't get mentioned, and it's for the IC belt. Shawn Michaels wins. Sensational Sherry turns on Shawn Michaels. The only thing I wanted to bring up to you is, when we were going into the Rumble, when we finished last week's Raw, the stakes didn't seem very high, did they?
No, they just sort of seemed, Michaels was a bit upset with Jannetty.
He made a boring phone call.
Yeah.
And then that was that. Now, I watched this bit of the Royal Rumble.
Just this bit.
And there's a video package where Shawn Michaels super kicks Jannetty after they've made up, after their tag team's breaking up, in a set called The Barbershop, which essentially consists of two painted walls with a bit of glass in them.
Yeah.
And a chair. And then after he's finished super kicking Marty Jannetty, he picks him up and then fucks him through a window. Like, throws it. And I was watching it, I was like, in two minds. You could see where it was going. They were heading towards the window. And I was like, I don't know what's going to be better, if he just goes sailing straight through or if he gets kind of caught It was the latter. He kind of goes to the window, his head and his shoulders go through, and he's just slumped over on his belly, so his butt's sticking out, like broken glass fucking flying everywhere. And I was like, Jesus, he's just trying to kill that man. And then next week on whatever show they were recapping, because it definitely wasn't Raw, Shawn Michaels was in the ring in a very disgusting gold outfit. It was awful. Sensational Sherry, who looks like that woman from Mannequin, she's holding like a big furry mirror. It's like a heart-shaped mirror with like red fur around the outside.
Yeah, very popular in the 90s, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels is doing us all like, yeah, I'm a sexy man.
Sexy boy.
Yeah. He's not your boy toy.
No, I'm not doing it.
Oh! I was going to try to do the whole song like that.
Sexy boy.
And Jannetty comes in, he sneaks into the ring, he grabs the mirror from Sensational Sherry and tries to repeat this, like basically the glass smashing on the head. He goes to Michaels moves, and he smashes it over the head of Sensational Sherry. Nathan, this woman looks so frail. And he literally just cold cocks her. There's glass flying everywhere. Like she's got quite big hair.
Yeah.
And it's all like when she gets up again, like when they pick her up, like it's just like dusty with glass and like sort of that spray and glitter stuff. So her head looks like a disco ball. But yeah, it just smashes everywhere. And Michaels is like,
Oops.
God damn. Jannetty's a killer. He just killed that woman. So I can now see why she couldn't pick which side she wanted to stick to.
Yeah, because Shawn Michaels is an arsehole and Jannetty hit her with a mirror. A big-ass mirror.
A themed mirror. The worst kind of mirror. So yeah, that's all I wanted to add to that bit anyway.
Yeah.
So now we come to our last match of the night. That went on for 23 minutes.
Yeah, so strap yourselves in, lads. And ladies. And everyone else.
It's Ric Flair versus Mr. Perfect in their match that was set up last week on Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
In a loser leaves the WWF match.
Big stakes.
Big stakes. So there's a lot going into this. And Heenan is on the side of
Flair.
Flair.
Because he, like, manages him or something.
Yeah, I think, and also because he has Narcissus now, who's Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Who was unveiled at
Royal Rumble.
Royal Rumble. So, like, he wants to get rid of Mr. Perfect so his Narcissus can take over as the new
Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Correct. So they get into the ring. Nice intros from both men.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going in too quick straight away. Like, they're going to take their time, trickle the spots out, trickle out the action, and really make sure you don't get bored in these 20 minutes.
Because like they have a very slow start, but it looks tactical is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, they keep putting over on commentary why each man's doing what they're doing.
Yeah, they're both waiting for the other one to slip up and then take advantage.
Because they're both ring vets, so they're both that kind of type of wrestler where they're looking for any advantage over their opponent.
Do you know much about Mr. Perfect? Because I don't have too much of a clue.
I got a very limited. I know his finishing move is the Perfect Plex.
Yes, that's pretty much all I'm aware of as well.
And he's a good wrestler. I like
He's
him.
a decent wrestler, yeah.
So that's basically all I know about him. But I'm impressed with him so far. I like him a lot. So we start off and there's a long face-off.
Yeah.
Both men staring each other down. And you do get like a big fight feel. You feel like it's like a blood feud. There's a bit of a lock-up test of strength. Each man sort of putting their fingers and their hand out and the other man will grab it and they'll have a bit of a sort of like who's stronger.
Yeah.
Then they kind of just devolve into some slapping.
Yeah, just a lot of chops.
No, it's just slapping. Face slapping.
Oh, right, okay, we're not at the chops yet.
No. I've got another 3 pages of notes for the chops.
You see, the problem is that, Blake's got like 3 pages, I've got like 8 lines.
Can you tell who was more into this?
I mean, I had fun. I just like, I don't, you do the spot calling. I just pick up the interesting bits, like the fact that there was some technical difficulties.
Oh, yeah.
Like McMahon at one point says, I'm sorry if you hear any like complications with the radio. We seem to be getting another broadcast. Yeah, in the background of this bit, you can like hear some like light chatter. So like, apparently their like comms are picking up a second radio channel,
which I've never known to happen before.
No, neither have I.
What if it's like, do you remember like back in the 70s or 60s or whatever when those guys broadcast for all the worlds on the radio and people thought it was real? What if it was like that? McMahon's like, God damn.
I mean, but let's joke it off. If we're getting the Sci-Fi Channel or something, I think that's a Sci-Fi Channel that like existed back in those days.
Well, it was like a sort of a review of Sharknado, is it? on the old radio. But it was very distracting. Because you can just sort of hear like a low level. You can't pick out words, so I can't tell if it's the production the production radios talking back and forth.
Yeah, it does feel like Deep Throat's trying to get a message across to us.
I felt like it was like a secret coded signal from like, Bill Clinton or whatever.
Well, that's the thing, because they talk about Bill Clinton, because like, I guess his inauguration was the day before or something.
I don't know.
Maybe the Secret Service was nearby and they're just trying to like, you know, tell each other, oh, there's an assassin on the roof across the building. But all they're getting is, God damn it, Heenan!
Yeah, what if like the CIA truck or whatever, they're just getting the commentary of Monday Night Raw. So what is going on? Meanwhile, Bill Clinton's being shot in the head. It's okay because he wasn't the one that got shot. That was JFK. So
yeah, we're alright to play that joke because he's alive still.
Kind. I reckon they're all lizards anyway. So yeah, they have a bit of a lock-up, test of strength. There's a really good lock-up. And you can just see Flair and Perfect are masters of this standing up chain wrestling.
Yes, they're very good at looking strong.
The thing is, like, you can do chain wrestling, and sometimes you can do it, and it's basically just, oh, okay, we're killing some time, or we're just transitioning into you're in control of the match and walking me through, or the other way around. Or we're doing like a quick reversey spot. These guys, like, they take the chain wrestling and the lock up, and they make that part of the story of the match. Like, they lock up and it is like they're pushing against each other, trying to find out who's the strongest.
Yeah.
And they're kind of going into the ropes, they're coming off, not running, but they push each other into the ropes. And they'll kind of push back to centre and then kind of go over another way. And they do sort of make it feel like, okay, this is actually a contest. They're actually trying to find out who the better man is. The sort of pushing lock-up gets pushed off, so they kind of break the hold, and Mr. Perfect hits him with a shoulder block, drops him down. Flair springs straight back up and gets a drop toe hold. So each man is sort of showing, you know, we're kind of equal at the moment. Rick rolls out of the ring after a big punch.
Rick rolls. Like the memes.
He rolls out of the ring after a big punch from Mr. Perfect. They sort of and then when he's on the outside of the ring, Heenan just sort of wanders over from the commentary desk.
Yeah, and he's like hands him a hammer or something.
No, he shows him a hammer.
Oh yeah, look, that doesn't. By the way, the hammer doesn't come up again.
Yeah, what was saying last week about Chekhov's gun? It doesn't hold up this week, does it?
No. Well, it didn't hold up in the Repo Man match either, because the camera kept like snapping back to like his hook on a rope. I was thinking, okay, they're gonna involve the rope and the hook at some point.
He's gonna like push it to the bottom of his jaw or something and drag him behind.
Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something.
We got no insertion or penetration this week. I'm sad. So there's a bit of chain wrestling from Ric Flair. They drop to the mat. It gets reversed into a hammerlock on the mat by Mr. Perfect. They go back up to standing, into the corner, and then we get the chops.
Yeah.
Those thunderous chops from Ric Flair. That will like knock your dick still. Like, it will turn your blood blue in your chest. And then they kind of swap over, and Perfect gives him a bit of a receipt. He's like, okay, now I can slap you in the fucking nipple.
Yeah.
Oh, a bit of that, get that on you.
And boy, does he have some nipples to slap.
Then when Flair comes out of the ring, the corner, after these chops, we get to see the Flair flop. Yay! 2 weeks in a row.
Which, okay, it's fun back in this time, but when he's still doing it in the mid-2000s and wrestling's got a bit more serious, it looks a bit silly.
It looks a bit silly here because it's supposed to be like a blood. This is for your career.
Yeah.
And you're sort of just falling. I mean, it worked last week. We liked it last week because he Flair flopped by the rope.
And it was like to an advantage.
And Matador Man went straight over the top, didn't he? But here he's just sort of like, I'm going to take a bit of a wander and then ba-bam! Up in a Flair flop.
And like even the commentators were like, okay, well I guess the chops had a bit of a delayed effect on Ric Flair.
I'd love that as a gimmick for a wrestler, the delayed effect. Like, there's a guy who comes in and he goes like, bop, 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 gives you a load of punches.
No cells for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and then you just no sell, and then you scoop slam pin him, and then when you stand up, you just go like, ah! Like all the punches hit you then, and then you fall down dead.
Like a weird sort of martial arts dragon's kiss kind of thing.
Kind of like that thing from Kill Bill, where you have to walk 3 steps and then it kills you. Yeah, like that. Anyway, that was a bit of a sidebar. So Flair kind of crawls into the corner on his knees and begs off. This is classic Ric Flair. They go back to a face-off spot. Flair and Perfect lock up. Flair snapmares Perfect to the mat. This is quite a snappy sequence. I'm not really getting that across now, slow I'm talking. Perfect gets out of it by locking Flair in the head scissors. Then there's more chops back and forth. Flair chops, Perfect chops. There's some punches from Perfect. And where was this like literally the first 5-6 minutes of the match as well? It's got a long way to go. Flair evens the odds with an eye poke. And this gave us an idea for an amazing gimmick match, eye for an eye.
Yeah.
I remembered that was done. Because I think Butler's like, you could take someone's eye out with that. and we both were thought back to Extreme Rules.
Yeah,
With the
poor
ha-
Rey Mysterio.
With the Halloween prop eye that he had. What was that? Perfect goes over the top. This is the bit. Flair comes
This is
out.
the best part of the match, in my opinion.
He grabs a chair.
And this ain't your mother's like stainless steel chair that gets folded up in like the modern days. No. This is a proper rigid 4-legged chair.
They're in a place called the ballroom.
Yeah.
And it is very much ballroom style seating,
Yeah.
you get what I mean? So like a fancy tea house or whatever. And he's wielding above his head.
Like, he's going to absolutely fucking eviscerate Mr. Perfect at this point. But then, our angel in disguise...
Who comes to the rescue, Nathan?
But fucking diving in front of fucking Ric Flair, he's in the bodyguard. It's only Earl Hebner.
He comes off of the ring steps with almost like a Macho Man style dropping elbow to push the chair off the top. And both me and you, that's probably the... Okay, so we've seen some good stuff so far.
Yeah.
In the 3 weeks we've been doing this. But this is the biggest reaction I've seen you have. It's little Earl Hebner. And he doesn't stop there. He gets more physical later. Jumping off the ring steps to stop.
That's the thing, he looks ready to knock the shit out of Ric Flair.
He looks mad. So Earl jumps on the apron like Macho Man. Then we go to an ad.
He has like the grace and aggression of a swan that's nest has been disturbed.
Then we go to an ad.
Yeah, cut to an ad break and breaks the flow
And
entirely.
we had to pause it when it came back, because when it comes back, Ric Flair is standing over Mr. Perfect, and Mr. Perfect's kind of hooked his fingers into Flair's little red pants, and he's pulled them down a little bit over one of his cheeks.
Yeah,
So you can see
see his luminous, like, pale ass.
he looks like he's a different race under there, like some sort of mole person. Like he's tanned all over, and the whitest arse. So it's
I just imagine the conversation of like, okay, lads, we're going to be back from ad break in 10 seconds. Get yourself in a position to start up again. And then Mr. Perfect's like, right, I'm going to fucking make this guy look like an absolute fool.
I'm going to show everyone Flair's crack. So yeah, I've just written down Mr. Perfect is trying to pull Flair's pants down. There's a really good, strong Irish whip from Ric Flair. They both end up in a standing position, and he whips him to the corner really hard. And then Mr. Perfect does that thing that we've seen quite a lot. I thought it was literally only Michaels, Flair, and later on Triple H that does this.
Yeah, sort of a few people who can take a good knocking.
But it seems like a lot more people used to do this back in the day. I'm noticing that a lot, and lots of snapmare takeovers as well back in this sort of time. They don't really see anymore. Mr. Perfect does that thing where like you put your head down, your shoulders go into the turnbuckle, you roll up the turnbuckle till you're sitting on the top and you're facing out towards the audience with your back to the ring, and then basically falls out. That's what he's supposed to do.
And it looks rough.
But in this one, he kind of goes up, and then at the top, he kind of just like flops to this left-hand side.
Yeah.
And when he falls, it looks like he catches like his ear and the back of his head on the apron.
Yeah.
And ends up in a heap. And we were a bit concerned because we weren't really sure if he'd botched it on the top rope.
Yeah, because he goes through it so quickly. It's like, oh shit, maybe that wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, like maybe, obviously, I think what I was thinking at the time was, okay, he's gone up, he's gone to do the fall, because the fall, I guess, was always planned.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of gone a bit wrong. Could have been.
That's the thing, because we probably would have stuck with, oh, maybe that wasn't supposed to happen like that, had he not jumped up and bladed himself.
Yeah, so when he stands back up again, he's cut, like he's bleeding from the forehead.
Yeah.
It's going into his blonde hair. So after the big tumble, Mr. Perfect comes up, he's cut. It's all going into his beautiful blonde hair. And Flair starts working the cut in the corner with kind of punches, closed hand punches. There's a strong Irish whip. Mr. Perfect front flips, like the reverse almost what happened before. So he kind of gets thrown into the turnbuckle, and then just like standing front flips his way onto his back in the ring. So he doesn't go up the turnbuckle this time. He just kind of does just like a big whoop, and then lands on his back. And then Flair attempts these repeated dirty pins. So Flair's laying on top of Mr. Perfect, kind of pushing his arms and his shoulders down, and he keeps like hooking his leg on the ring rope to give himself illegal leverage.
Yes.
It's a name for a great tag team.
And this happens a lot of just Ric Flair doing little cheats here and there.
And I like it's cheeky.
Yeah.
Obviously his career's on the line, Nathan. What do you want him to do?
Stop.
If only he did this sort of thing when he was fighting Shawn Michaels for his career at WrestleMania, that 20 odd years later.
Don't spoil it.
He might. Oh yeah, we're going to get there eventually, are we? Fucking, we're at 80. So it's repeated dirty pins, and yeah, at this point, Earl Hebner, he's had enough.
Oh, he's sick of Ric Flair's shit.
Of the what you could have, what you should have done. He kicks Flair's leg off the ring rope, and he's like, "Pack it in."
Is this the point where Ric Flair's looking up at him on his knees going, "You're nothing! You are nothing!"
I think maybe. There's a bit of a shoving back and forth as well. There's a strong... That's what I mean, like shoving between Al Hebner and Ric Flair. There's a strong Irish whip into like a rolling pin for Ric Flair to Mr. Perfect. Which ends in a near fall. Each man locks into a backslide. I thought this was pretty cool. They've been kind of going back and forth. We're about, what would you say, halfway through the match, I'd say.
Yeah.
Halfway to a third or 2/3, kind of in that sort of middle-ish area. And normally it's when matches start to flag for us, if you notice. Like, you start to basically get into that
especially
habit of,
like the 20-minute plus ones.
well, this is the longest match I've ever called so far on the show.
Well, it's only the third episode, Blake. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying getting like such a whole lot to sink my teeth into. So this was cool. So obviously they've got to slow it down a little bit so each man can catch their breath. So they go back to back and then link elbows and arms, kind of like that bit in Emperor's New Groove when they climb up they go back to back, climb up the ravine, the waterfall or whatever. Imagine that just with two sweaty wrestlers and you've rather than a llama, and you've got the picture. And they're both trying to, again, it's going back to this test of strength thing where they're both trying to get each other into a backslide. So it's where you kind of fold yourself down as the attacker, your opponent slides over you, all their weight is then on their shoulders, and it's a pin. And they manage it. Mr. Perfect gets Flair into it. There's a near fall again. And then when Flair's coming off the rope, he hits him with a really big back body drop.
Yeah.
Flair flies, like he did last week, I think, as well. I think it's one of those spots that Flair's really good at selling.
Yeah.
He goes back to begging off on his knees, the little dastardly heel.
Cheeky boy.
There's a 10-punch. Cheeky boy!
I'm not your boy, toy.
Mr. Perfect gives him a 10-punch spot, but he stops again at 6. I don't think anyone's done
That's
it.
what I think Al Hebner was counting because he was using a closed fist. It was like, okay, you get like 3 of them and then you're out.
He's working on the baseball system.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 strikes and you're out.
Well, I imagine because he's so tired of Ric Flair, rather than saying no to closed fists, it's like, all right, you can have a couple.
Fill your boots just for a bit, and then let's crack on with the proper wrestling.
And again, to be fair, like Ric Flair has like been proper lamping him with closed fists so far.
all the way through. I mean, there was a bit of hair pulling to start with from Perfect to Flair, but Perfect's played it pretty much inside the rules. There's an inverted atomic drop to get Flair out of the situation. Just kind of sit out, drops him.
Yeah.
He rolls up Mr. Perfect. There's a near fall. Flair rolls out. And then as he's climbing back up onto the ring apron, I thought what they were going to do is a perfect plex from the ring apron back in the ring. That would have been awesome.
But it wasn't quite that.
No, it was just a normal suplex. Still pretty
good.
impressive.
Still good.
And he holds Flair in the air for like 2-3 seconds. Like, you could just do it so with your momentum, you pick him up and you just go over. That's the easiest way of doing it.
And it looks incredible.
But he kind of goes, no, look how strong I am.
Yeah.
Kind of just like a stalling suplex. Kind of like what British Bulldog would do in a couple of years down the line. Yeah. And then we kind of end up, there's like a standing sleeper. So he kind of comes off the ropes. Flair gets Mr. Perfect in a standing sleeper. And they kind of work the way down to the knees. And then Flair's kind of leaning. And the commentary's pretty good because they're kind of talking about how the leverage of him is way over him. And the way that Al Hebner's kind of right in the frame, right up close, so you can make sure that the sleeper hold, which is legal, doesn't slip into a choke hold, which is illegal. Yeah. So I think that was quite cool.
I guess the difference between them is the sleeper hold is supposed to cut off blood and the choke hold is supposed to cut off air.
Yeah, I think the only visual difference is the chin is obscured by a sleep hold by the opponent's elbow, the crook of their spine, where a choke hold is any lower. So if your elbow is below their chin, that's a choke hold you've got.
Okay.
I think, I might be wrong about that, but I think that's how it works. There's a double 10 count spot, because Mr. Perfect powers out of that. Oh, they do the 3-hand thing. So like they do the whole thing where they lift Mr. Perfect's hand and it drops 3 times.
To see if he's sleeping.
Yeah, there. He's a sleepy boy. Sleepy boy. Stop it. And instead he's falling asleep. Oh, look at him napping. He looks so peaceful.
But no, on the 3rd count, he's still standing strong.
He is. He kind of like sort of almost does that thing. You know, like when you're sort of gesturing an erection. You kind of go like that big.
Yeah, he does like that. He does the bicep flex. I suppose.
Oh yeah, I guess that's more normal way of explaining it rather than when you're trying to signal to someone across the room an erection.
Like a carry on. Hello, lady.
So yeah, he powers out. They drop to a 10 count spot. Mr. Perfect gets it first. Still showing even now being cut, being sleepered, being like sort of nearly hit by a chair. Mr. Perfect still got gas to go.
Yeah. In fact, he looks fucking furious.
He does. We get to see 2 finishing moves we've not seen before tonight.
Oh,
Figure 4 leg lock.
Yes, of course.
I said to Nathan, okay, we're going to sit here for about 6 minutes in this now. But luckily that didn't happen. So Flair gets his figure 4 leg lock on Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect keeps dropping back, and he keeps his because of the when you're sitting up, that's when the pressure's on your legs apparently. But when you lay down, the pressure is somewhat alleviated.
Yeah.
So he keeps laying down to alleviate the pressure, but obviously then both his shoulders touching the mat. So and Al Hebner can start counting him, so he has to keep sitting up. Every time Hebner looks away, Ric Flair's got the top rope for the illegal leverage.
Yeah,
He's all that leverage, isn't he, old Ric Flair? He gets caught. I like this. It wasn't the case of, he gets to Mr. Perfect gets to the ring rope or whatever. Or he kind of rolls over and reverses the hold, which he can do, which I think Bartlett was saying in commentary that that's what he should try and attempt to do. No, what happens is Hebner catches Flair using the illegal leverage and makes him break the hold.
Yeah.
So I like the fact
that
he
actually gets in and starts digging away at the legs.
He kind of starts pulling his legs apart.
No, Hebner. We told you to be a randy episode.
It's a sexy episode.
Sexy episode.
And then he gets Mr. Perfect in the corner, starts working his knee. And then I said to you at this point, because Flair goes up to top rope again, and we've seen him do this twice now, and each time someone's grabbed him and thrown him from the top rope. So I was convinced we're never going to see Flair fly. And this is no exception. He gets from the top rope, Mr. Perfect grabs him, throws him to the mat.
Yeah.
There's an ad break. Again. And then when it came back, I expected Flair just to have like his dick pulled out or something by Macho Man.
No, we should only be so lucky.
Yeah, by Mr. Perfect. Flair digs into his boots. And he finds... Sorry, I started thinking about this.
He starts fingering his boots.
And in his shin pad, or wherever, his sock or whatever, he's got a set of brass knuckles. Or one brass knuckle.
Yeah, something like that. It was basically just a ring with a big bit on it.
Yeah.
For doing hitting.
He hits Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect drops like he's unconscious.
Yeah, he falls like a shit bricks. Shit bricks?
You're shit bricks.
You're shit bricks. I'm not with it today.
I reckon that's what we should call our audience. You know,
shit bricks.
Like,
How's it going, shit bricks?
Yeah, like sort of the chaos minions or whatever. We should have ours as the shit bricks. So you shit bricks. Here's how the match goes. So they're basically putting over on commentary. Mr. Perfect is down for the count. He's out.
Yeah.
Rather than capitalising straight away, Flair goes for an elbow drop.
Well, first he puts the brass knuckle away again.
Oh yeah, well, of course. I thought that was implied. He's not just going to sort of
I don't know.
sit around with his brass knuckles.
I don't know how much knowledge these people have. They might have as much as I do, which is to say little.
He drops the elbow on him and he pins Mr. Perfect. At this point, we're expecting it's done. Mr. Perfect's going to lose. Flair wins. Mr. Perfect's got to leave. Narcissus, Lex Luger, who's Bobby Heenan's man, can come in and take over from Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
But no, he doesn't kick out, but he gets his foot on the rope. Mr. Perfect does, which is a rope break.
Yes.
So Al Hebner's like, no, you got to let him go. So he breaks the pin, and then he goes for a couple of punches, puts another pin in, and this time he does kick out. So like his knocked out time has expired, so to speak. And then a recurring theme: Mr. Perfect hulks up, like gets on his knees, does all the blowing. He's like blood streaming down him, and he comes up like a house on fire.
Yeah.
He gets up, and we're in the closing kind of 2 or 3 minutes of the match now, and he hits the chops in the middle of the ring, and Flair just walking back. Like he's walking Flair back, hits him with this massive right hand, drops Flair. The Irish whips Ric Flair into the turnbuckle. He goes up and over the turnbuckle, but he kind of lands on his feet on the apron. He runs along the edge of the apron and then, like a cat, springs on top of the top turnbuckle and then jumps. He does jump.
He does a jump.
And then Mr. Perfect catches him with a clothesline, probably why he never jumps.
Yeah.
There's a near fall. So we're picking up speed now.
Yeah.
We kind of dipped in the middle, we're picking up speed. Here we go. Let's bring it home, boys. Flair kicks out. And then he bounces Mr. Perfect off the ring ropes and he kind of drops himself down. So he's got his head down looking at the mat and he's going to backdrop Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect sort of stops a bit awkwardly, just sort of goes, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fall for that. And then he reverses him into the Perfect Plex.
Yeah.
Thing of beauty.
Beautiful, that move.
So we get the Perfect Plex. I've written down here, Flair is done. That's it. I'm convinced the match is over. And it is.
Yeah.
That's it. 1, 2, 3.
Flair has lost his job.
He's gone. He's outie. He's never going to work for WWF ever again.
No, we never see him again in the WWF.
After it goes to an advert break, I just written down here.
I mean, I think before that, like Bobby Heenan like loses his shit and he's cussing all over the place. They've censored him with a weird censor that just sounds like a woo woo woo.
He sounds like a UFO.
Yeah.
It's coming off the radio.
Maybe Heenan's an alien. That's what the CIA after him.
It ends. There's an advert, and kind of the match. The sort of that bit ends. But yeah, they go up the apron, the walkway.
The walkway to the curtain.
And Heenan manages two losers, Flair and Lex Luger.
Yeah.
I'm sure going to be a loser. We come back from the advert and we get a pimp for next week. Now, the only reason I kind of skipped ahead to that bit was because it is mentioned Flair has to honour his commitments over the weekend and then he's gone next Monday. So that's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically got like a week's notice.
Yeah, got to do his final jobs and then he can get his last page.
Oh yeah, by the way, you've still got to wrestle on Superstars this Saturday and then you're gone. But yeah, we never see Flair again, ever.
Never.
Ever again.
I've never even heard of Ric Flair. I don't know what you're
why
talking
we
about.
were giving him a big thing last week because I've seen more of the Matador than this guy.
Yeah, do you remember how early you said that in the mid-2000s Shawn Michaels retires him? That didn't actually happen.
I just like the fact that, okay, we're going to keep a Flair counter now. So
See how many times he shows up.
Yeah, everyone remember this moment. So as of Saturday, he's finished. So Superstars on Saturday. After that, he's no longer
theoretically,
employed.
we shouldn't be seeing him on the next episode.
So the next episode of Raw should have no Ric Flair. So we're going to keep a Flair count of how many weeks he's retired or left WWE for.
There's an advert for, was it WrestleMania or was it just for the next episode of Raw?
No, it's the caffeine-free advert again.
Oh, yeah.
And then we come back, because there's a few minutes left in the episode, like literally like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like they're tripping over each other. No one cooked on Raw and Special, whatever it is this week.
Yeah, no, they dropped that phrase for this
Thank
week.
God. This is like starting a trend, and next week they drop
It's because
Bartlett.
Bobby Heenan can't do it. They have to rely on Savage.
Yeah, it's like this is the running theme, and next week they've dropped Bartlett as well.
Yes.
Back to the subway where you belong, Bartlett. You slime.
You've earned your $30. Go home.
Now, fuck off. Maybe you can get a job as Heenan's chiropractor / dominatrix after this. So we get a quick ad, the Zap ad, the 100% caffeine free ad, and then we get our come back next week and watch Monday Night Raw next week.
And what a match they're displaying there.
Well, you seem down on this.
It's Doink the fucking Clown.
Fighting Typhoon. What happened to him fighting Crush? Where did that go?
Where did that go?
Like, the last time we saw him, like, he'd beaten him with a lead arm.
I guess Crush actually died.
He's actually dead.
Don't fight Doink, he will kill you.
Maybe it's like, you know when Gandalf the Grey becomes Gandalf the White? Maybe
no, I've not seen the second film yet.
Oh, maybe Typhoon is like Crush. Like, he's been killed by the Balrog that is Doink, and then, like, the next episode of Raw starts off with, like, him falling down the mines of Moria, and he comes back as Typhoon. Maybe, I don't know. And that was the January. I'm excited anyway about that Typhoon match. But there's an advert for like the only thing you're advertising next week. Bit piss poor.
Yeah, that's your title match. I guess they really aren't wanting to start any new feuds. Yeah.
No, I mean that is the end of the January 25th, 1993 edition of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Nathan, what did you like? What didn't you like? What was your favourite match? There's only 3 matches to pick from. Well, only 2 real choices, but
that's the thing. I mean, like, there were only 3 matches, and there wasn't like a huge variety of match. I mean, Macho Man and Repo. I mean, it was a little bit funny at the beginning, but it just went on and on. It felt like, and Kamala versus the Brooklyn Brawler. There's not much I have to say about it. I mean,
to the point where you had to check your notes to remember who he fought. Yeah, okay.
But like, I mean, Kamala's an entertaining character, like we said. So it's nice to see him and like actually in the show. Ric Flair versus Mr. Perfect. Yeah, that was an alright match. It put itself over as like this momentous occasion, you know. It actually felt like a big match, like the sort of thing you would have on a pay-per-view. But I mean, it went on for a long time, but it felt fresh for all 23 of those minutes. So yeah, I mean, I would say that would be my favourite match, if only because it was like the only real match of the show.
Yeah.
So what were your thoughts?
I didn't enjoy this week as much as last week.
No, definitely not.
I missed my segments, dude. I need my stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like Undertaker doing his headlock for hunger bit. No, Heads Up Hunger Talk this week.
Which is weird because that charity event is happening the week this was aired.
Yeah, the Friday following this Monday.
Maybe they just hyped it up so much on Royal Rumble that they didn't feel like they needed to.
Yeah, I think that all the problems of tonight's show literally comes from the fact it's directly after the Royal Rumble.
Yes, everyone's tired. You can't get your big talent in apart from Ric Flair and Macho Man.
So I think basically what's happened here is they've kind of gone, right, look, we've had a lot of story wrapping up on the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Yokozuna winning the Rumble is like a big momentous thing. He came in 27th, so it's not really that impressive. But whatever.
No.
It's not exactly like the sort of Lesnar Terminator that they'll put him over as. So I think all the problems directly come from the fact that it is the day after the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I think the fact that, they've obviously spent a lot of time and money and they've made the pay-per-view that people are paying to see quite important and quite special. The writing team, probably their second priority was going to be Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
So like I said, there's literally no story and no segments tonight. There's a brief interview segment, which is like a nothing segment.
Yeah.
It is all match, and nothing really... It seems like the week of wrapping things up. Macho Man and Repo got wrapped up. Flair and Mr. Perfect, for the time being, has got wrapped up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Flair's never coming back.
I don't know, Nathan. But I tell you, the things I enjoyed, because I've been quite negative so far, I after doing this is what, three episodes?
This is the third episode.
Third episode, it's nice to have just an all wrestling one.
Yes, yeah.
It's nice to have that change, that break.
It's nice to feel like you're not missing anything by not having seen what the last big pay-per-view or anything.
So I appreciate the fact that we've got a lot more wrestling action this week.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that we didn't really have to see the Royal Rumble to see this episode.
I'll probably watch it anyway. I did start to watch it. I watched the Jannetty and Shawn Michaels, then my app crashed and I couldn't be asked.
Because it's the wrestling app and it doesn't work very well.
That's basically what happened, if you want to know why we didn't review that one.
But also for this episode, I'll say, this is the most bearable that the commentary team has been.
Yeah, I think the fact that it's quite match heavy, they've not had to fill time as much. They've not had to kind of make sort of jokes about, who was he mentioned? He wrote
Mike Tyson?
No, who did Macho Man write a letter to? Because he's out of touch. He was a lesbian.
Oh.
Jane Fonda? No.
No. The one who played What's-Her-Face in the Butterfly Effect.
Butterfly Effect.
Yeah. Oh, not the Butterfly Effect, sorry. The fucking...
Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the
Jodie
Lambs.
Foster.
Jodie Foster, yeah, that was it.
I was going to say Aston Kutcher.
That's right, I'm going to cut that out to make myself look smart.
Oh, okay, fair enough. The commentary was quite good this week. And it did feel like things, even though we haven't had like silly segments, things did happen, I guess.
Yeah.
But I feel like it is that kind of Royal Rumble malaise, isn't it? Like, okay, they've just watched, 2.5 hours of wrestling yesterday. We've got an hour to do today. Let's not give them too much that they have to pay attention to.
Yeah, let's just have a nice relaxed episode.
Let's all have an easy day, Let's take it easy today. Yeah. So I didn't enjoy it as much as last week. Still a good show. I enjoyed this week more than the first week.
Yes, yeah. I think the first week was just like a rough start. They were trying to get a feel for how things were going.
Yeah, apart from the weird radio thing, there was no technical fuck-ups tonight either.
No.
Everything kind of went smoothly without a hitch. Probably why we didn't enjoy it as much, because last week we had like phone problems and bits of the show just didn't work, which was great. So all in all then, good show, bad show.
Decent episode, decent.
Excited for next week in Typhoon versus Doink?
No.
I'm excited to see how shit it's going to be. That's what I'm looking for.
My main concern is that that's like the big match they're promoting. That means they've got no one better than Typhoon and Doink.
Or Flair's back and they don't want to ruin it.
What if Flair is Doink? That is the only outcome I'd accept.
And like when Hulk Hogan was Mr. America.
It's
obviously Hulk Hogan.
No, you fired Ric Flair. I'm a different character played by Ric Flair.
I'm Flair Rick. I'm the nature boy.
Toy Nature.
Tick Flair. So that was that. I enjoyed that. Not as much as last week. I enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to next week.
Sure.
And we start the long, lonely road
to WrestleMania
on April 4. Ugh. I hate it. Just say 4.
4th of April. It's easier.
Yankee fuck.